Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Smart Girls Google Hangout. I am really, really happy about this one. I mean, I'm always happy about them, but this is extra cool to me. We are talking today to Haile Thomas. She is a youth health advocate for kids. She does so much that it would take up the whole time for me to list all the stuff that she does and the cool things. But she's a chef. She's an advocate. She changes the world by being herself. I mean, you know, she's great, and you're about to find out. Hi, Haile.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm really excited to get this conversation started with you. Let's see. I want to start out just talking about your organization. What is this organization, and why did you start it?
Well, the current organization that I've been working on is the Happy organization, which I co-founded with my mom, and HAPPY is actually an acronym, and it stands for Healthy, Active, Positive, Purposeful Youth. And through the program, which is partnered with my local YWCA here in Tucson, Arizona, we offer kids cooking classes, fun physical activities, and opportunities for kids to build leadership skills and also nutrition education. So that's what we offer, and I love working with the program, working with the kids, and being able to spread my stories as youth, kind of youth to youth, and also being able to spread the gift of healthy eating and living. So
I like that, and I love the acronym HAPPY. I mean, you can't beat that. That's very cool.
Yeah, so when I came up with it was crazy.
I know. I also want to ask you in general, what interests you about food? Like, what got you interested in the subject of food?
Well, I've always loved food. My parents are both from Jamaica, so ever since I was, well, as little as I can remember, I've been loving different spices, curries, jerk seasonings, really different foods like oxtail, and so I kind of fell into loving food and different food too. So I wasn't sitting down and eating macaroni and cheese, but I was sitting down and eating, you know, coconut rice and different things that most toddlers or little kids wouldn't eat. And so I think with that, it definitely helped me fall in love with food. And then having my mom being such a great cook definitely encouraged me to get into the kitchen and help her. And over time, I continued to help and learn from her, and of course the cooking channels, which I just fell in love with as well. And over time, I was able to kind of get into the kitchen on my own, and then I wanted to know more, so I started watching food documentaries and really getting into it. And so, yeah.
Well, and what's one of your favorite food documentaries?
One of my favorites has got to be Food Inc. because it tells the story of the whole food industry and what happens to animals, plants, produce, you name it. It shows, you know, all the processing that happens to food, and it's actually really sad and messed up, but it's important to know what's happening to your food that you're consuming, and then the effects of that processing and what it does to you once you consume it. And so that's taught me a lot about trying to be more organic and limiting those unhealthy processed foods.
I think that's a great point, because there are so many of us out there who just don't know exactly where everything comes from. And I think that that's a good documentary, as most of them are, about learning where food really comes from and what really happens, and is that something that you really want happening. There's a great Buddhist monk, Thich Thich Nhat, and he says, I think he says, like, don't eat the angry chicken, or you shouldn't eat the angry chicken, because he's saying, like, the energy of all the stuff we eat, you know, we're all energy, and so if a chicken's just been really sad and cooped up and, you know, angry, it's going to not be good for you in many ways. But I think that really is important to know where our food comes from. And I remember reading something about you, like you thought that your family was eating, your whole family thought they were eating really well, and then it turns out that you weren't. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the turning point after watching the food documentaries was when in 2008 my dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and that was a huge wake-up call. It was just screaming at us, you have to change something. And not only for my dad to get better, but also for our whole family to be informed and also live the healthy lifestyle that honestly everyone deserves, because you have to live your life to the fullest, and not having a healthy lifestyle shortens that. So it's just incredible to me to think that, starting off with type 2 diabetes and seeing that there's so many resources out there that can help your family or you yourself get better and get healthier as well. And I think it's just so important to take advantage of those resources and to know where your food comes from, because sure, we would eat fruits and vegetables, but it wasn't a healthy amount of serving. You still add the butter or the huge, large amount of salt, and so you have to know how to control how you serve your food and how to make it still taste delicious, because you don't need butter or milk or a lot of salt to make something taste good. You just have to get creative, and I think that's what I've learned from all of this.
Well, I also know that, our palates are funny things. Like, when I was younger, I couldn't stand dill, or I could not eat a pear, no way. And now, of course, I will eat both of those happily. And so not only do our palates change, but also I think that for whatever reason, there are some people that are just really finicky eaters, especially younger people. So what would you say to try and help somebody maybe open their mind a little, expand their food experience a little? What can you say to them?
Well, I know it's a fact that you have to try a food at least 10 times before you determine that you absolutely do not like it. So that can be over a course of years or even a course of just 1 year. And so that's, you got to try things at least 10 times before determining that you don't like it. And also, I learned that being creative in the kitchen and making my own food has encouraged me to eat the food that I make. I like to see that whole process from the kitchen to the table and to know that I made the dish myself. And I think being creative and experimenting in the kitchen and being a part of the cooking process, whether it's you alone or with your whole family, and I think being a part of the whole process of making a meal is really important, even down to setting the table. And I think it's just really important to get creative, mix things up, and make it fun. When we look at broccoli and it's just laying there looking boring and lifeless, you have to do something to really pump it up and make it exciting. And I think that it's honestly the key to success.
How do you pump up your broccoli?
Well, you could do all sorts of different things. You can mash it and mix it with different ingredients. Like you could do a potato mash with the broccoli in there, and different herbs, really important, and also just exposing yourself to a lot of different foods. There are so many foods out there, and we're only limiting ourselves to chicken nuggets. And I think that once you move past that roadblock of chicken nuggets, you can really get somewhere.
Well, I also wanted to ask you about the virtues of eating home-cooked meals. There are a lot of people that are in a hurry and they'll just get takeout, or like, let's all go eat at a restaurant. What do you think is special about coming together and cooking and eating at home?
I think what's important about getting together, cooking, eating at home is, well, it starts with the preparation. You're getting together, you get to catch up in the kitchen while also progressing. So you probably normally talk about your day, but not in the kitchen. So, of course, if you put those two together, you can accomplish two things in a whole meal. So starting in the kitchen, it's just a good time to spend together and to have fun and know that you all contributed to the meal, and then sitting down and looking over it and seeing what a great job everyone did. And I think it's just a great way to bond as a family. And my family, we eat dinner every day together, and it's just a great way to, see each other. If we all have busy days and we're caught up with work or school or any other activities, it's just good to catch up and sit down and enjoy a meal that's homemade and you know what's in it, and all the ingredients are just perfect. So
I think that's great. I think when you're around the people cooking your meals, even if you're not the one doing the cooking, but if you're around it also, you actually get more of a sense of appreciation for the care that goes into somebody preparing a meal for you. I mean, it's a really kind thing to do for somebody, isn't it?
It is, and you don't get the same feeling from a frozen meal for sure. It's a sense of being together and just having a special time to really catch up.
Well, for those people who who aren't in surroundings where somebody loves to cook or is interested in it, what's a good way? What do you tell somebody if they want to learn, if they want to start cooking? Like, what are a good couple of first steps, do you think?
I think the first steps of cooking is to identify your favorite ingredients and then how to make those special to you. So identify all of your favorite spices, all of your favorite fruits, vegetables, meats, whatever you like, and put those together. And I think that's basically what I've been doing all these years, is mixing all the spices that I love and seeing what can come out of that, whether it's on chicken or vegetables or whatever I like. And I think if you take what you love, then there's no way you can really seem to fail, because you're using what you know you want to taste and eat. And also just being creative and getting out there. If you don't try, then you'll never really know. And I mean, you might burn a few things first, but it's still a great experience, and it's a skill that can last a lifetime.
I love that you said that too, because it doesn't have to come out perfect every time. You're going to make some mistakes probably. And I think, just like you have to taste something 10 times, you might have to try and make it 10 times until you kind of get it the way you want it. So I think that's a really good, patient way of talking about it, which leads me to the next thing. How do you define mindful eating? What is mindful eating to you?
I think that mindful eating is knowing your limits and knowing the food, the limits, and being able to enjoy it at the same time. I think that when there's a lot of delicious food, yes, it looks really great, but you have to think of the long-term results and also just your long-term health in general. And I think that mindful eating is thinking of the future and the present as well. And if you just listen to how you feel, if you're full, you're full, and you need to stop. And so I think that it's just paying attention to your stomach and how you feel, and instead of letting your taste buds or smell control how you eat.
Well, here at Smart Girls, we really do like to remind everybody that each individual step leads toward a bigger change. And we know that, like, obesity is a problem in our country. There are lots of food processes that could be done a lot better. So what are some steps that you and the Happy organization, what are some steps that y'all take that you advise others to take little by little to make things better?
Well, of course, I say to expose yourself to different foods, and if you open yourself up and step outside of the box, you find a lot of different foods that you like. And even if they're not healthy, you're still trying something new. And, of course, if you find new healthy ingredients, say you don't like broccoli, but you find broccolini, and what do you know? It tastes different to you. So I think that it's really important to step outside of your box, and also to just be open to really anything and try everything. And even if you don't like it, it's okay, as long as you make the effort to find a new favorite. And I think that's very important. And also to find ways to make your favorite dishes healthy. There are so many ways, there's so many alternatives and substitutes for different ingredients, and I think that it's important to identify those and then put it into your favorite dishes, because you can make macaroni and cheese taste just as good with less cheese, less milk, butter, and then you could put spinach in it, or kale, or cauliflower, and you can really change everything. And I think that if you just take the step to be different, then I think that's a great way to start.
Okay, well, I want to keep going with this and ask you a viewer question that we were just sent, and it's along the same lines. So I'm a horrible cook. Everything I make turns out kind of gross. How can I become a better cook?
To become a better cook, I think that everyone has the potential to be a really great cook, and I know it might be discouraging when the meal doesn't come out right, but I happen to find that whenever I follow recipes, I don't really get the results that I'd like. So usually I alter things a lot. I add whatever my favorite ingredients are, but I still can follow that basic recipe and the cooking instructions. But I think when you alter it to your taste and what you like, then it's good to go for me. And also, I think it's just important to know that it can't come out perfect the first time, but just as long as you keep on trying. And there are so many different resources out there. I actually took an online cooking course, an extra course, so you can know all these different techniques, and it was free for 30 days, and I was able to use that. And I think if you look out there for your resources, and it's actually helped me in the kitchen, and just have fun, try things out. I've made some pretty gross stuff too, but I think that just making the adjustments that you need to each time, that it increasingly gets better.
Well, I hope that she takes that advice and tries. I know that you're really interested in nutrition too. What is it about nutrition that makes you more curious about it, makes you more interested in following that?
Well, I think nutrition comes hand in hand with where your food comes from and how it grows and all of the processing and that whole thing, because we all know that a bag of chips compared to carrots definitely don't have the same health benefits, and the bag of carrots doesn't have preservatives like the bag of chips. And then seeing how those preservatives can affect you versus no preservatives, and seeing how that amount of salt can affect you versus no amount of salt. And I think that's really important to make the connection of what you eat and how it affects you afterward. And I think that helps a lot with mindful eating, as well as knowing the nutrition value of something. If you eat a donut, that's empty calories. It's just nothing nutritional for you. And I think that the basic goal is to eat something that has nutritional value. Even if it's just 4 grams of fiber, you know that you're taking in something. But, that donut just has some frosting. So, I think that it's important to make the connection of what happens after you consume the food.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because you don't know what's going on and why it makes you more hungry to eat certain bad things. So knowing the story behind it is really interesting. So I love that you're interested in that. You're so well spoken about all of this. How did you start to become an advocate and start doing public speaking about this?
Thank you. I actually began my public speaking in 2010 when I was selected to the Alliance for a Healthier Generation's Youth Advisory Board. And the Alliance for a Healthier Generation is an organization that has a goal to really get kids to make an effort to combat childhood obesity. And kids everywhere are representing the Alliance for a Healthier Generation and trying to get their communities a little bit healthier. So once I joined the board, which I am no longer a part of, I've been with them for 3 years, but it's been amazing, and I have to thank them for so many things that they've done for me. But joining the Alliance gave me a very very great platform to start off with, and their whole goal is to inspire youth to have their voice heard and telling them that their voice is very important, because most of these health conferences are all talking about what can we do to get kids to eat healthier, and it's a room full of adults. Well, you need kids in there to have insight, and I think that the whole idea of adults making the decisions for kids is it's getting old, and I think that kids should have a voice. So with the Alliance, they gave me a lot of opportunities to have my voice heard and my whole opinion about health and wellness. And as I started to grow and be able to speak at more conferences, starting with the Partnership for a Healthier America Summit, I've been able to reach broader audiences, more adults, more kids, and being able to get the message across that kids and adults can partner together to help make this whole country a little bit healthier, or hopefully lower the obesity rates in some amount. And I think that without the Alliance, I sure wouldn't be speaking with you guys today, and they definitely they're really great and empowering group, and they tell kids that you can do anything and your voice matters. We're not just the kids who are just going to eat the macaroni and cheese just because you said so. We can do something about it too.
Well, that's great, and that's another thing though. Sometimes it's hard to eat healthy if other people in your household are not on the same page. So what do you say to kids who do want to strive and do this, but their parents are just not there? They're just not there yet, let's say. What can they do for themselves?
Well, I know that it's difficult being a child in the house. You usually don't bring in the income and you don't decide what you buy, but you can. If you come along on those grocery store shops and you say, hey, I think we should get this cereal instead of that one because look, it has less sugar. And like I said, there are so many resources out there for kids to be informed and then to help inform their family too. And I think that a part of what I do, I recently went to a school here in Tucson, and I went and we made all of these dishes. We made lettuce wraps, we made parfait and salsas, and they just loved it. And I got a bunch of thank you notes that were saying, I never ate healthy, but now my whole family wants to do the same. And I think it's just being able to have the exposure of the whole idea of getting healthy. And if you're a kid who wants to get healthy, then I think, just go on Google and really see, what can I do to really change? And I think that there are so many resources. And once the kid's interested, when we are interested in things, we really push it. So, tell your parents that I think we need to get more carrots and, less taquitos, whatever it is. I think that you just have to push it. And even if it's just little improvements every day, like, oh, let's just change this brand of cereal or change this brand of energy bars, those little things count, and then the family will eventually catch on.
That's a really good point. I also know, though, it's, and I'm sure you've talked about this before, a bag of chips, is 99 cents, and the organic apples is, blah, blah, whatever price that is. So I think sometimes it's so much easier, in the mind of people, it's easier to grab something when they don't have a big food budget. And I think re-educating them about the payoffs is what we need to do. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people they don't have access to healthy ingredients or products, and I think that's why people like us, people who want to help the community, we can all make sure that people in underprivileged areas can reach those facilities and those products. And I think that there are a lot of movements that are going on today, and also if it's not organic, it's okay. If you can't reach that point yet, it still makes a difference to have an apple than a bag of chips. Even if it's not organic, it's okay. So I think that that it's just important to know that even if you can't get the best quality of food, you can still get it, and it's in baby steps.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone has billions of dollars to spend on extremely high class food, but I think that it's just really important to make those little efforts if you can, because I'm sure you can find an apple that's the same price as a bag of chips.
That's great. You're so right. It's like it's one choice at a time kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so you're in 7th grade, right?
Yes.
Okay. You seem to be balancing that year very well. You seem very, you're very elegant and well-spoken and interesting. How do you keep that up?
I think that I actually sometimes don't even know how I keep it up, but I really think that it's just having enough motivation and passion for what I do and support from my parents and all of my other supporters, and that helps me get to where I need to go, and also, of course, having dedication to school and being able to, wanting to have, good grades. And I think that it's important to care about education, but also somehow balance your extracurricular activities in something that you're interested in. And I think that if I waited to do all of this when am an adult, I think that it would be a waste of all of these years. And I think that right now I can reach out to different age groups as I get older, and eventually, I'll have spoken to several different types of people, and I think that it's really important, like I said, just to balance your passion and your education, because they're both really important, and I think I care deeply about both of them, so that's why I'm able to accomplish educational goals and my passion too.
That's great. What do you do just to goof off when you're just having? It's the summer now. What are you going to do this summer just to goof around and have fun?
I love going swimming. That's a lot of fun. It's always like 113 in Tucson, so that's definitely something to help cool down. I like playing video games sometimes, and that's a lot of fun. Me and my mom and I, we go walking every morning, and that's just a lot of fun. And I think it's just I'm still able to be myself, and I don't think that it would be fair if my passion took over who I am. So.
Well, that's a very good point. That's a very smart point to make, because we're still the essence of us, no matter what's going on in our lives. So we're just getting down to the wire on time here. So I want to make sure that we include Father's Day is coming up.
Yes.
And we want to put all of this wisdom into action. What is something great that we can all make for the person in our lives who we would like to honor as our father figure on Father's Day?
Well, for my dad, I know he deserves a really great meal, and I think all dads do. They all work so hard. So I have a recipe. It's called the Egg-tastic Frittata Fiesta, and it's really delicious, really bright and colorful. It's light, healthy, and we're using egg whites and white ham and a veggie frittata, so it's all really integrating the basics of breakfast, but in this really cool frittata. And it's also really easy to make with kids, so as a whole family, Mom and the kids can make this meal for Dad. And the thing is that even with limited unhealthy ingredients, it's still creamy, and you still get the cheese flavors that you like, and so I really, really love this recipe, and I think Dad deserves it.
That's a lovely thought, and I hope that everybody takes you up on it, and that this, on Father's Day, it's an ecstatic frittata fiesta happening around the world. So we'll definitely post that on the Smart Girls website and social media. And why don't you give a little shout out to the Happy organization and say the web address so that people can go there tonight as soon as they're done watching this.
Yes, so if you want to learn more about the Happy organization, you can go to www.thehappyorg.org, and you can learn more about me, what I do, and also the work of the organization.
Thank you so much for being here, Haile. We're going to go and have Jamaican callaloo with saltfish. Is that how to say it? Callaloo?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I've been told I need to make for dinner tonight. So
that's funny. I just had some.
I might be doing a private chat with you after this to figure out how exactly to do that. But thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. You're such a lovely, lovely young woman, and you're just a real delight to talk to. And I hope that you just keep talking to more and more people because what you're doing is really important.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we will be in touch with you and talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll see you at the next one. Bye.